Okay, let's dive into this because let's be real. Procrastination is something we all wrestle with. But what if we've been fighting the wrong battle this whole time? Today, we're going to break down a method that completely reframes the problem and turns that feeling of being frozen into actual, real-life action.
You know the feeling. I know you do. That project, that essay, that mountain of emails sitting in your inbox, it's just so big, so overwhelming that your brain kind of short circuits. And what happens? You end up scrolling on your phone, telling yourself, oh, I'll start in 5 minutes, which of course turns into an hour, and then maybe tomorrow. It's that universal feeling of being completely and utterly stuck.
Now, this quote, this right here changes the entire game. It suggests that procrastination isn't about some deep character flaw or a lack of willpower. Nope, it's about our inability, or sometimes our unwillingness, to decide on the next, tiny, almost invisible step. This single idea is the key to unlocking everything.
So, let's start by just dismantling all those old, unhelpful ideas we have about this. For years, we've been told that procrastination is some kind of personal failing, something we should feel guilty about. But honestly, that's a myth. Look at these. These are the heavy labels we just pile on ourselves, right? We treat procrastination like it's a sin that we need to discipline out of us. But this way of thinking is not only wrong, it's totally counterproductive. It just adds this layer of shame that makes it even harder to get started in the first place.
So, here's the aha moment. The real reason you stall isn't because you're not trying hard enough or you're not disciplined. It's a lack of clarity. That's it. The path forward is just fuzzy. It's undefined.
And this is the core shift in thinking that we need to make. We think we lack willpower, but what we really lack is clarity. We think we're lazy, but the truth is our plan is just a blurry, low-resolution image in our head. We think the work is hard, but actually the first step we've defined is just way, way too big.
This is the perfect metaphor for it. We're standing at the base of this massive objective, like clean the entire house, and we're so intimidated by the sheer scale of it that we do, well, nothing. We're paralyzed by looking at the summit instead of just looking down at the very first rock right there at our feet.
So, let's get into the simple brain science behind why this paralysis happens. It really all comes down to how our brains are designed to process tasks. It's not a bug, it's a feature. See, your brain is just not wired to execute these big, abstract objectives. An objective like write a book is huge and it's terrifying. Your brain literally doesn't know which muscle to move, so it triggers a threat response and it freezes up. But it loves concrete actions. Something like type one sentence or even put on your left shoe. Well, those are simple executable commands it can process without any anxiety at all. And this brings us right to the solution, the practical antidote to this cognitive freeze. It's a beautifully simple concept called the least minimum.
I absolutely love this definition. The key words here are absolute smallest and, my favorite, pathetic. You want to shrink that first step down so much that it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. It's all about making the barrier to entry basically non-existent.
And here's why that ridiculously small step is so powerful. It's about overcoming that initial friction. It's physics. Once you open the document or you pick up that one box, you've started. You are now in motion, and it is so much easier to continue doing something than it is to start it from a dead stop. But hang on. Remember that definition? It also mentioned being unwilling. Even when we know what the smallest step is, sometimes we still resist. Why is that? Well, this is where our old friends ego and perfectionism decide to show up.
Perfectionists procrastinate because the least minimum just feels insignificant. It doesn't give you that immediate, glorious feeling of a massive result. So taking that pathetic little step, it actually requires a bit of humility. It requires admitting you can't conquer the whole mountain in one go. You have to take one small, maybe even boring, step at a time. Okay, so let's make this super practical. How do you actually apply this? It's simple. You transform your vague to-do list into an atomic one, where every single item is a least minimum action.
So for example, write the essay. That is a paralyzing objective. But open the document and write just the title. Anybody can do that. It takes 10 seconds and poof, the resistance just vanishes.
Or think about this one, clean the garage. That sounds like a weekend-long nightmare. But what about go to the garage and pick up that one box? That's a simple action. It's totally achievable. And once you've picked up that one box, guess what? You're already in motion. And here's a perfect modern example. Clear my inbox. It just feels impossible, right? But read and archive just one email? You could literally do that right now. It completely bypasses the brain's threat response.
So, the crucial point, the big takeaway is this. Stop waiting around for the feeling of motivation to strike, Motivation is a fickle, unreliable fuel. Instead, focus your energy on creating absolute clarity. Your brain isn't telling you it's tired. It's telling you the step size is too big.
So here's your takeaway. It's a simple, 3-step loop you can run for anything. First, name that big, scary objective. Second, ask yourself that magic question. What is the most pathetic, ridiculously small first step I can possibly take? And third, and this is the most important part, do that one thing. Immediately. Right now.
So I'll leave you with this question. Think about that one thing on your list that you've been putting off for days or weeks or maybe even months. What is your least minimum? What's the one tiny action you can take in the next 60 seconds to get the ball rolling? Because the path to greatness isn't a giant leap. It's paved with those tiny, almost invisible actions.